What's up, everybody? What's going on? It's another edition of The Rewind right here on the Pregame Show Network. I am Tolly Carr in Atlanta. I hope you're feeling good. I am ready for the weekend. I'm feeling good. I'm excited. We got a big show lined up for you. Miles, let's show them what we have today on The Rewind. All right, coming up, we're talking NIL Valuation, and there are some Colorado players in the top 5. I bet you can guess who those guys are. We're going to talk about the shoes because money, it must be the shoes. We got some video game news to get into and a little speculation there. There was some fun had on Radio Row during the Super Bowl. And we're going to talk run game. Who's in that running back room for Colorado? That is the rundown for this week here on the Pregame Show. Let's get into our guy. There he is. It's the beard that you fear. You must fear the beard of Uncle Neely, banging the Tougaloo hat. Brother, that thing is sharp.
Yeah. You know, Tolly Carr, we love our HBCUs, and you got your Jackson State helmet up there, and a good friend of mine, Earl Sanders, the head baseball coach at Tougaloo College, who is a Jackson State grad, first-round draft pick, Major League Baseball to the Toronto Blue Jays. He's the head coach over at Tougaloo, so he gave me some Tougaloo gear. Not Texas Rangers, that's Tougaloo tee. Tougaloo Eagles, let's do it.
All right, Neely. This wasn't on the rundown. We'll talk about it real quickly, though. How long did it take you to figure out that was the sonic boom on the field with Usher during the Super Bowl?
Well, it's 2 reasons it didn't take me long. I already knew, and I was sworn to secrecy. And as much as they tried not to show it, much to my chagrin, if you looked at the bass drums, the Jackson State logo was on the bass drum. So there were some scenes where you knew it was the sonic boom if you knew, even if you didn't know. But I tell you this, Tolly, as big as that moment was for the culture, as big as that moment was for the brand, I don't want to water it down, but I got to say, next time, Apple, NFL, when you have somebody like that on, put the name on the screen. There's so many people who were unaware of who that actually was, and it could have done so much for the brand and moving the cause forward, even from a financial standpoint. We got to put the name on the screen, Tolly.
Hey, man, it's just a graphic. It doesn't take much. Just a few little keystrokes. That is it, man. Well, Neely, we love our fans. We love our comments. People really loved the addition of Simone last week. Simone is out working today, so we wanted to have her on. But she's out at her other little job, so she couldn't join us here on the Pregame Show Network. There was some there was some back and forth about my attire. You know, some people tried to shame me out of my traditional navy blue blazer. Miles, come on, Miles. Neely, just in case you thought you had shame. Come on over here, Miles. Miles, should I go with the blue or the blue? The blue? Okay, blue. Here you go. Shout out to you, Miles. Just in case you thought, Neely, you were going to shame me because you called my blazer the MLK Special. It's at the Selma Museum. Wanted their Martin Luther King Jr. jacket back. We shall not be moved. All right, let's get into it, man. I tell you someone. I tell you someone who can afford a blazer or two, and that is Deion Sanders. On3 came out with their latest valuation of NILs, and Deion Sanders, Travis Hunter, top 5. Neely, no surprise, but Deion Sanders, out of all the college football players, he was number 1, only number 2 to Bronny James, which there's no shame. No shame in coming behind Bronny James. Look, I love it when black people are born on third base. Bronny James was born on third base for sure. It would take effort to mess up his name, Bronny James. So he's doing his thing at USC. But that's huge for Travis and Shedeur. Their brand continues to grow for both of those guys.
Yeah, and I think what people, fail to realize is the celebrity status that Shedeur and Travis have reached. When you see them courtside at the Nuggets game and LeBron James goes out of his way to stop and speak to them, and then later on sends them some gear, you see them as college football players, but around the world, particularly Madison Avenue and that marketing space, they are truly celebrities, man, and their brand commands attention. It has a draw to it. They carry themselves excellently off the field as well as on it. So people want to be associated with a winning brand. And Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter are winning brands. One thing you talk about Bronny James and being born on third base. What I love about whether it's Bronny James or Shedeur Sanders, Shiloh Sanders, they don't let being born on third base, if you will, stop their work ethic. Man, those guys go get it. They go after it. They could just as easily rest on who their parents are, but they don't do that. They work harder than anybody else on the field and off it. And then you have a Travis Hunter, who is just truly one of the most gifted players in all of college football, probably all of football when you factor in how much he goes both ways and can be out there on the field for so many plays and never have a drop off. These guys, man, are worth every penny that these marketing folks are putting in, because the return on the investment when they associate their name with your product starts to move.
And just to be clear, look, I would love to have been born on third base. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And, when you look at Bronny James, the Sanders kids, like you said, Neely, they continue to work hard and continue to refine their craft. I don't think, Neely, if you were to watch those kids, and of course you get to watch Shedeur, you get to watch Travis, when you see them in the weight room, in the film room, you wouldn't know that, hey, this guy is comfortable in these areas because of the amount of work and the hunger that they still show, right?
Oh, that's absolutely spot on. Coach Prime used to say it back at Jackson State that, by the way I coach and manage the team, the only way you're going to know somebody's my son is you see their name on the back of the jersey, because I treat everybody the same on this team. Everybody is my son on this team. And if anything, he's harder on the guys that are his sons, blood sons, such as Shedeur and Shiloh, as well as, quote unquote adopted son, as he calls them, in Travis. So, these guys, man, have a work ethic that's off the charts. They are not really focused on NIL. NIL is happening for them, but they are focused on the NFL. They are focused on getting Miss Peggy a bowl game this year. They're focused on being high up there in the CFP and playing for a national championship. And of course, you're talking about two guys in NIL valuation who's off the charts work ethic, also have them in the Heisman mention, and that's going to continue through the season. So their value, their NIL valuation, is only going to increase, Tyler.
When we talk about NILs, I've heard the conversation, Neely, about the trickle down and some of the pressures that, some of the lower, smaller guys, the little brothers of college football are feeling. I noticed, look, you saw Chip Kelly leave his job at UCLA. He said, I'd just rather be a coordinator. All right. Here locally in Atlanta, Georgia State is technically an FBS school. Their coach just left this week in the middle of spring practice. He says, you know what, I'm going to be a position coach at South Carolina. You're starting to see some coaches just say, you know what, man, I can't keep up with all this. This transactional nature has become more than I bargained for. That could be part of the reason, why Nick Saban was like, all right, it's been fun, but I got to go here. While things are working smoothly in some places, do you feel like the overall presence of NIL has put some pressure, along with the transfer portal, on other programs, and especially some of the ones that might be, kids leaving, trying to go up to higher schools and find more value for their skills?
I absolutely believe that. I think that when you look at the blue blood historic programs of college football, the Georgias, the Alabamas, the LSUs, the Texas A&M, the Clemsons, all those kind of guys, all the way to Notre Dame's and Penn State historically. I think this new era of college football benefits, to some degree, the new coaches who come in and they're not so attached to the way things were done the past 20 or 30 years, because this is a new way of college football. You have to, through the portal, recruit your own team each year, and you have to have NIL or collective discussions with players as they're looking to transfer. This is not going to change anytime soon. I would imagine, though, there will be some readjustment of the rules and how things are done in the next 2 or 3 seasons. But NIL, name, image, and likeness, having collectives out there that can compensate players for their work in the community, it ain't going nowhere. It is, quote unquote, you want to say a leveling of the playing field in some regards in college football, because some of those alleged things that were taking place behind closed doors in the smoking rooms are on top of the table now, and everybody can do it. And it has changed the way we compete. You hear, coaches around the nation who will say, "Oh man, a starting quarterback is $1 million deal," and that's just the facts of the business now. College football has always been a big business, but now it is a big business for the players as well. Hey man, get the bag, but as Coach Prime says, be more concerned about making the NFL than you are about getting an NIL.
One final note here on NIL before we move on here on the Pregame Show Network. Neely, you talked about the Blue Bloods. It's interesting that the Colorado quarterback is now the highest rated in NIL valuation, followed by both of the Texas quarterbacks. One who hasn't played, but his name is Manning. Arch Manning there. And Jalen Milroe, the Alabama quarterback, who at one point during the season we thought was going to lose his job, and he bounced back. So, no surprise that you have Alabama and Texas there, but this leveling of the playing fields, of course, the presence of Deion Sanders is the unicorn in the room. But, to have two Colorado players right there, man, I think anything that kind of upsets the apple cart, I like, because we need to shake things up from time to time.
Yeah, one of the things that has to be underscored in this process, Tolly, is when you mention those names, those are names that CEOs and chief marketing officers, they know what they're getting. Let's make no mistake about it. You're not going to have a $1 billion company, a $100 million company attach its name, image, and likeness to an 18-year-old or 19-year-old that they don't absolutely believe is going to represent them well. And that's not just performance and yardage and points on the football field. That's more importantly, what are you doing after the games? So this is also, a clarion call, a wake-up call to athletes who are out there in high school or going into college now that want to have NIL opportunities. Watch what you say and do on Twitter and Instagram. Watch how you carry yourself off the field. Because I guarantee you, if you run for 300 yards in a game and you're acting an ass in the club on the weekends, you're not getting the Baskin-Robbins deal. They don't want to be associated with a brand that doesn't match their brand from a character standpoint. So whereas performance on the field is a high watermark, you got to have that fifth spoke in the wheel, that character that Coach Prime talks about, because that's what's going to make corporations really want to have you partner with their name, image, and likeness. It's not just about yours.
All right, and Shedeur Sanders, according to On3, his valuation at $4.7 million, and Travis Hunter at $2.3 million, and a couple of ladies in there as well. Angel Reese in there, a gymnast from LSU, also in there. So it's a good mix, good balance there in the top 10 for NCAA athletes. All right, we're going to move on with the show here. Moving on from NIL to the shoes. It must be the shoes, Bunny. Deion Sanders was once with Nike. He famously left Nike, moves on to Under Armour, and years later he is back at Nike. Neely, I saw that Deion Sanders was on social this week. He's on social every day. But on Instagram, I think we have a screenshot here for you. He posted his new shoes, which are the throwback shoes, and asked people what they thought and what they used to call them. Neely, I feel like Deion Sanders is having a good time being back with Nike, and it seems like is reliving some memories, and he just seems to be enjoying himself here.
Yeah, he's having fun with it, man. This is one of those watershed moments in sports you thought you would never see. Coach Prime being back with Nike, with Colorado being a Nike school. They were able to come to some terms and make some things happen, which includes bringing back what I used to call the Deions. And Tolly, if you look at that screenshot, you see a comment.
I just saw that. Bring it back, Miles. I just saw that. This guy, I don't know if you know him, Neely. He says if they're size 14, I call them Neelys.
You better believe it. Every time he gets a shipment in, I go in his office and look for the 14. So he told me they're coming. We'll see.
Look, I got a bad cough, man. Don't make me laugh too hard. I like your play on words there. He told me we coming. We'll see. But, I enjoy him, kind of being able to, because we're such a sneaker culture, to kind of be able to tap into that, because as famous and as great as he was, Neely, he doesn't spend a whole lot of time talking about his past. He could, and I'm sure there are moments where he are, and I'm sure there's autograph signings and all that. Is just good business to do that. But for the most part, he's forward. He's pushing forward.
And I think that's what has kept him more relevant, than his playing years. He has continued to move the bandwidth up. First celebrity we had on the pregame show, February 21st, 2021, was Troy Aikman. And Troy Aikman said that, somehow Coach Prime Deion Sanders is more relevant today than he was when we were winning Super Bowls together, when he was with the 49ers out of Cowboys. He's the one of the guys, whether it's the triplets, Aikman, Irvin, or Emmitt Smith, that fourth guy on that team that is more known now than he was when he was playing. And I think that's because, Tolly, he doesn't rest on his past accomplishments. He's always looking to the next thing, looking for that bigger stage, bigger platform, and has continued to be able to rebrand and remarket himself, all while being authentically him. So, he doesn't spend a lot of time talking about the playing days and when he wore those shoes, because he talks about the right now. He's always talking about where his feet presently are. But make no mistake about it, what he accomplished in the NFL while wearing those shoes. Everybody wanted a pair of Deion's. And when they drop coming soon, you're going to see everybody want Deion's again, particularly when the team is also playing him.
Well, if indeed we coming, size 13, Neely. I don't need a 14. I just need a 13. That's all. Let Coach Prime know, it's Colorado merchandise. I've taken a few strays in the past. I'll take a pair of shoes and we'll call it all good. Look at that.
Tolly Carr, there's no way I'm getting a pair of 14s, and I don't see to it that you get a pair of 13s.
Boom. I'm going to hold you to it, man. I'm going to hold you to it. All right, let's move on with the show. From shoes to video games. Video games. Well, EA Sports announced this week that College Football 25 is coming back. It was a very popular game. It's been gone for a while, but it is now coming back, and soon you'll be able to get on the sticks and play with your favorite college football players, some of your favorite college football coaches on the sidelines. However those games work, I don't play them anymore. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I've just moved past video games in my life, but they are a lot of fun, big industry, so I get it. That's why we're talking about it. Neely, when this video game comes out, College Football 25, somebody is going to have to be on the cover. It's probably going to be as much discussion as when who's on the Madden cover each year. And Neely, I cannot imagine that conversation will move forward of who is on the cover without three names. Is Coach Prime going to be on the cover? Is Shedeur going to be on the cover? Is Travis Hunter going to be on the cover? Will they all be on the cover? I think this is just you go back to that marketing and, you do the hard work and the good things will pay off. This is going to be another conversation that goes right back to Colorado.
I love it. I don't think there would be a better three individually, or get this, much like the Sports Illustrated cover during the JSU days. I don't think it'd be a better example of having all three of them on the cover together or having varying covers. You're talking about the hottest team in college football at the same time that the hottest game ever in college football is about to redrop. What better way to do than associated with Colorado and Coach Prime and his two prolific players in Shedeur, Heisman frontrunner, and Travis Hunter, Heisman frontrunner. Tolly, I don't think you go wrong with either one of them being on the cover of this new game. You're talking about this video game industry, a billion-dollar industry, now merged in with NIL, where you don't just have, like in the back in the days when I was in college and playing the college football game, I would see number 2 Florida State, and I knew it was Deion Sanders, and he had the speed of Deion Sanders, but you didn't have Sanders on the jersey or the name in the game, nor did he get a dime from it. That has now changed when this college football game drops.
Dude, when I was in college, I played Sega Genesis, and I'll tell you, Neely, here's the day that I stopped playing video games. It was in college. I was playing this pro football game, just very generic. but I got caught up, man, and I was living in an apartment off campus, and I had to go to a class. I lost the game. I got so mad, and I wanted to run it back. And I was like, man, bump that class. Ran the game back, and after that game, I was like, dude, I just skipped the class to play a video game. This is the end of my video games. I'm making bad life choices here, but still lots of fun. Lots of fun.
I like your priorities. I thought those excellent choices for college.
Will you get on the sticks when College Football 25 drops?
You know, man, I'm looking forward to, like we discussed, who's on the cover. I'm looking forward to playing with Colorado. I'm looking forward to having the computer with the simulations play games to see how the outcomes will do. But here's one thing I'm also looking forward to, man, from an HBCU standpoint. I'm looking forward to see what bands that they include on halftime in this game.
That's the thing? They do that in the video games? They have bands?
Oh, yes.
Oh. Well, if they don't have an HBCU band, that game is trash. Like that. I know that much. I don't know a lot about video games now, but I know that much. No, that'll be cool. That'll be cool. So it'll be out soon. So the conversation is already underway. So that's something that we will definitely keep our eyes on. All right, the show moves on. It is The Rewind right here on the Pregame Show Network. And Radio Row, a guy that we know was on Radio Row this past week at the Super Bowl and had a lot to say. Talked to a lot of people. Neely, I caught a few Deion Sanders interviews. The one with, I think it was Skip and Lil Wayne, and he was talking and almost let the cat out of the bag. They were talking about Shedeur Sanders and his NFL prospects and coach almost. You know how he says, "Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord." Like I almost let that one slip. He almost said his dream scenario of where he would love to see Shedeur Sanders go, but he caught himself. He was like, "I'm a coach. I can't get into all that. I can't put that out there." But man, I really, again, just enjoyed him in that moment. To look, how many of us with children didn't at some point or still do, have this dream of our kids exceeding at the highest level in whatever they are doing, or maybe things that we want them to do. But he just really had that giddy dad look there, talking about his son and just really was more like a father in that moment, more so than just a coach. And I thought it was a really cool thing, even though he didn't let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, I love those moments as well, Tolly. There's a thin line with him between being head coach and, whether it's NCAA regulations or things that are just protocol, and dealing with that blurred line between professional athletics and amateur athletics. I don't know if we can call college football amateur athletics anymore,
no.
But we'll see. You always love those moments where he is starting to drift over into the dad lane and say something and realizes, oh, wait, I'm here as a coach right now. But I think the world can't wait to see where Shedeur Sanders ends up. No doubt about best college quarterback going into this season in the nation. No doubt about first-round pick, likely to even be first pick. No doubt about Heisman front runner, sure to be sitting on that front row at the Downtown Athletic Club in New York. But what remains to be seen is who's going to draft him. Of course, there's synergy with the Falcons, the 49ers, and the Cowboys. You kind of got to say, well, if the 49ers and Cowboys have the seasons that they had this past year and last year, they're probably not going to be picking high enough, because much like his dad told him at the Combine, I'm not going to be around if you're picking right there. I'm going to be gone by then. So I like your Falcons, Tolly. I think they got a good shot.
I'm with it. I am with it. I'm not predicting a huge turnaround this season. We might still be on that struggle plate a little bit and be in a good position. I tell you what, if Shedeur Sanders were to go to the 49ers, I bet you they would know the overtime rules before the game started. I bet you that, Neely. It wouldn't be, oh, they changed the rules? Oh, it's not sudden death? We didn't know. We had no idea. I'm sure a Shedeur Sanders team would know the overtime rules before the game started.
You better believe it. He's always prepared. And man, what did he go about 11 or 12 on the winning the coin toss?
He's on it.
Now he is, man. They say tails never fails.
They say a lot. That is a pretty good one right there. Man, the part that's going to be super exciting, Neely, is once we get through the draft, then there's going to be so much focus on this upcoming class. So look, for the next, couple of weeks, month, or however long till we get there here in the spring, people are going to be picking Caleb Williams apart and the LSU quarterback and Michael Penix, and we're going to hear all that. But once we get past the draft, and man, we're going to hear the prognostication for the college football season. We're going to hear about, the skills, the pluses, the minuses, the strengths, the weakness, the Mel Kipers, the Todd McShay. All these people are going to be talking about Shedeur Sanders, not only for his college season that's coming up, but his prospects as an NFL draft pick. It's going to be a great season if you're a Shedeur fan and a Colorado fan.
I believe that. I received that. I think that what you saw last year, with the attention of the college football world being on Colorado, is going to be more intensified, like you articulated, Tolly, because not only are you going to have the attention of the college football world because of the draft eligibility of Shedeur Sanders, Shiloh Sanders, and also Travis Hunter, who will be in his third year of college ball. There's going to be a discussion of where do they land, where do they go. Everything they do on and off the field is going to be talked about because it's going to impact or have impact on that. But these guys, man, are not focused on that kind of thing. They're focused on this off-season strength and conditioning, getting ready for fall camp this summer, and going 1-0 this week and each week, and they'll just let the chips fall where they may. But I think they all have the confidence to know that, yeah, we're going to be playing on Sundays. Where that'll be, we'll see. But we know that's going to be there. Let's take care of first things first this football season. But the eyes of the world will indeed be on Colorado football, and specifically those three players.
Neely, you had some content up this week on the Pregame Show Network. You went inside the running backs room, and you had the OGs of the running back room. And Neely, it got me to thinking, we talked so much about the offensive line. We talked so much about the quarterback. What role, what expectations, what are you looking forward to out of the run game this year for Colorado?
I'm just looking forward being a major part of the offense. I think that one of the things that happened last year was not only having a weakened offensive line and its protection of the quarterback. When you're having to play the scoreboard and not really play your game and manage the clock, you have to keep throwing the ball. And then when you're throwing the ball constantly, that becomes predictable, and defense can sit back and wait on that kind of thing. I'm looking forward to a productive running back room under Coach Flea, who's also the assistant head coach, former head coach at Howard University, former running back coach at Jackson State University, assistant head coach at Colorado, in charge of the running back room. I think, you're going to have a three-headed monster emerge of Dylan Edwards, Alto McCaskill, and Savion Wilkerson, who's an HBCU transfer. Don't know which one of them are going to get the lion's share, but look for Dylan Edwards to be explosive and no longer that offense where he's running right up the middle of that size. But I'm looking forward to him getting out in space on some screens and some tosses and some sweeps and that kind of thing because his speed is unbelievable. And Dylan is now on the track team in Colorado, only getting faster. So I think the running back room is the sleeper room for this season. We know this line is going to protect Shedeur, but every lineman will tell you they love run blocking because that's going forward, not backing up.
Absolutely. You want to lay those pancakes on the line when you get out there in that aggressive mode. All right, Neely, before we go, flex, man, comb that beard for the folks. You got some beard fans out there, man. The way you just flex those follicles, look at it. Is your product out yet? I know we kind of talked about it before. Can we get the Neely beard juice?
Being labeled and bottled as we speak, coming soon. Uncle Neely's beard oil. Bam!
I might have to try to grow this thing on out there, buddy.
Yeah, we might want to try it up here first, though, Tom. yeah, right in there is where we want to go. That's where we want to encourage the growth.
I know Coach Prime's got a guy, man. Give me the number, Neely. Come on. Give me the number.
Okay, Tyler, look down. You want the size 13s or you want the haircut? We can't hit him up for both. Which one you want?
Well, even if he gives me the number, I got to pay the price. And, I think for now I'll just hold at the 13s, Neely.
Good choice.
I'll hold at the 13s. All right, this has been another episode of The Rewind right here on the Pregame Show Network. I'm Tolly Carr. He's Uncle Neely. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. We might get Simone back next week if she's not working too hard. But you are here, and you are the one that counts. We'll talk to you guys a little later.